In a report released by the National Coalition for the Homeless, Gainesville was named the 5th meanest city to homeless people nationwide, high in the ranks with cities like Los Angeles and Atlanta. The study focused on legislation and overall public climate when determining the list. Alachua County Sheriff's Office spokesman Art Forgy says that Alachua County does have legislation in place that affects our homeless community.
We actually have a ordinance that deals with, it's titled Beggars, Panhandlers, Solicitors, Peddlers, and Canvassers. And it basically deals with those individuals that it prohibits them from standing roadside with signs.
Homeless Gainesville resident Chris Williamson is all too familiar with that process.
Being arrested all the time, every time you turn around, the cops, just because you're homeless. You're number one for the first one to go to jail. But you got a man selling drugs over here, whereas they won't pay attention to that. They'll take a homeless person to jail in a heartbeat because they ain't got to do no paperwork, no nothing like that. Just take you to jail.
According to City of Gainesville and Alachua County Office of Homelessness Director Teresa Lowe, Gainesville's ranking as the 5th meanest city came about because of a city rule.
That came out because of the ordinance that was in effect at the time that limited the number of meals that St. Francis House could serve on a daily basis. There was a limit of 130 meals per day.
The problem with serving 130 meals per day is that there are over 2,000 homeless people in Gainesville at any given time.
Everyone in the dining area have 15 minutes.
According to Lowe, another big problem that law enforcement focuses on is the gathering of the homeless in public areas. Forgy says ASO deals with this every day. But what happens when the police are called?
Go to jail, and they're entered into the court system, and there's typically fines associated with it or some type of, a punishment that goes along with it. And, yeah, if they don't have the money to sustain daily life, then they sure don't have it usually to pay the fine.
That fine is usually the beginning of the homeless person's downward spiral.
It is a vicious cycle, and, typically the homeless person that's out there begging for money needs the money, and that's why they're doing it.
Williamson has fallen victim to this numerous times.
They're nitpicky little things. It's like you were talking about, the panhandling. Come on, if I'm out there and I'm not begging for money, if you're willing to help me out, why ain't I allowed to go ahead and take that money?
In 2005, Gainesville and Alachua County officials created the 10-year plan to end homelessness in Alachua County. One of the most important factors in this plan would be the construction of a new center. Forgy says that, too, had a difficult time gaining support in the community.
But everybody doesn't want it in their backyard. They want it somewhere else. And so that's been the biggest hurdle all along, is finding a location to place that one-stop homeless center.
That homeless shelter has now been approved to be in the old correctional institution in the northwest corner of town. Forgy, Lowe, and Williamson all had one thing they hoped for the new center, that it'll make changes in the homeless community. Bethana Saleh, WUFT-FM.